as you can see, people are just watching and waiting for some of these results to trickle in. And as you can see behind me, crews are still on the scene. They're just finishing up for the day. They're expected back here tomorrow morning. But you know, there's not much left of the crash. But check this out. Row after row of new shiny snowmobiles. Kind of a neat sight, but this is not where they're supposed to be at this time of year. And I love my job this week because I get to talk to all these amazing people. Joining me now is the Big Bopper's son, JP. Many of us have been in the same situation. Now, besides having an ice scraper in your car, it's also a good idea to keep a shovel handy. When we arrived on the scene, there was a woman right outside of this home sitting on the ground in handcuffs. We are winding down the week with a little fun here in Central Park in Mason City. It is the Friday Night Live kickoff event for their concert series. Well, anymore, a phone like this is a common sight. It connects us to the rest of the world. But according to a recent study, we're using them so much that you may be working more than you know. But it took until the 1980s for women to be a part of active military service. It started with Evelyn Miller's disappearance from her home in Floyd and has now come full circle with charges filed 7 years later.
It was so green.
4-year-old Kylie Thompson is back in her mother's arms after an eventful night.
Well, I was trying to find my way to this house.
She was playing at a friend's home when she wandered into a nearby cornfield and got lost. Was it a little scary?
Well, it was a little.
Kylie's mom, Heather, says she had just checked on the kids.
Not 5 minutes later, Sydney came in and said that she couldn't find Kylie, and we all went looking for her.
And after some searching, they called police, who continued to look for the child along with nearly 300 volunteers. And their efforts lasted hours.
Everybody is tired, you're upset, you're feeling heart sunk. I mean, it's such an awful feeling because you expect the worst. There's water in the area. There are wild coyotes apparently in this field.
It was tough for the search crews and even more difficult for Kylie's family.
I was freaking out. I didn't know where she was. I was like, why is it taking so long for us to find her?
As you can see, searching for a 4-year-old in corn that's almost as tall as an adult is not an easy task. As Kylie continued wandering through the field, crews looking for her were about to be called in for the night.
And then for some reason, one of the guys suggested, let's do one more push at an area that we didn't really saturate. And that was when we were successful.
She was found by a volunteer, and even better, she was safe and unharmed.
The nice thing about living in rural Iowa is the fact that they still care about their neighbors.
It's those neighbors from near and far that have helped this family get through a scary situation.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart for bringing my daughter back to me.
Iowa's 85th legislative session is officially underway. Lawmakers have a host of issues to tackle, starting with what to do with a budget surplus. KIMT News 3's Natalie Tendall was in Des Moines. She's learning more about the top priorities for local representatives this session.
This year, it's all about keeping Iowa's economy moving forward with job creation and education reform. And Iowa lawmakers say they're ready to tackle those issues with the bang of a gavel and an opening ceremony. Iowa legislators are getting to work on some top issues.
The fuel tax is a big issue for me.
And we'll be looking at property taxes.
Mental health redesign is education.
And of course, there's the budget, but Iowa lawmakers are welcoming that issue this year since they're finally dealing with a financial surplus.
We got ourselves some breathing room, and so I think that, you know, it's going to be a little bit easier this time around because we have already made those hard decisions, and so now it's just kind of continuing those practices.
Education reform also has lawmakers talking.
And I think one of the problems that no one has really talked about, it's kind of the elephant in the room, is the poverty that kids are dealing with. We have 1 in 3 children in this state that's hungry.
Leaders also want to take a look at community colleges and attracting more skilled workers in the state.
We definitely need to improve our excellence in education for the workers to be workers of Iowa and for the businesses that are in Iowa.
And after years of debating property tax reform in this building, lawmakers say now is the time to get something done.
We actually have figured out a little bit what the goals are, what this, possible solutions, possible barriers. So we know those things, we can focus more clearly on common ground.
Another issue they're looking to tackle is the state's role in mental health care.
But we certainly have to make sure that we're able to provide resources for people that are troubled.
Lawmakers I talk with say they are willing to reach across party lines and work together to get things done. In Des Moines, Natalie Tendall, KIMT News 3.
Well, law enforcement around the area are cracking down on drivers tonight in a joint project. KIMT News 3's Natalie Tendall went along for the ride this evening. She is in Studio 3 with more. Natalie, this operation a little bit unusual, right?
Well, yes, Sarah, seatbelts were the main concern tonight. Clear Lake PD and Mason City PD, the Sheriff's Department, and the Iowa State Patrol all were participating in the nighttime seatbelt enforcement project. It's a coordinated effort not just to give tickets, but to make the community aware of how important safety belts really are.
Hello, sir. Yeah, how you doing? Good. Have driver's license, insurance card, and registration with you.
These police officers are on the lookout for one main thing this evening, seatbelts.
We can increase our enforcement of nighttime safety belt violations. Hopefully we can drive our fatality statistics or fatality rate down.
They're putting together a sting-like operation to catch violators. And here's how it works. This man, posing as a panhandler, actually works for the State Patrol. He has his eye out for drivers and passengers not wearing their belts. And when he spots one, he lets the half-dozen police officers on standby know.
The road to the stop sign coming off of Plaza Drive by McDonald's, he didn't put the seatbelt on until he got to the stoplight. And he is turning eastbound.
Then those in the patrol cars take over.
The reason I was stopping this evening, need to wear that safety belt a little earlier.
Each department likes to conduct these types of projects every once in a while, but it's no small feat. It takes planning, coordination, and money. Luckily, grant dollars help to fund the operation.
I'm going to issue a warning this evening on a proof insurance citation on safety belt violation. Safety belt violation, obviously, is the single most important thing you can do, wearing that safety belt.
And even though the violators get a $127 ticket, they hope it's a bigger lesson learned than just an emptier wallet.
First of all, because it saves lives. Second of all, tonight, because the roads are terrible, and if you were in an accident, it could save your life.
And most get the point.
It was an error on my part. I sure think seatbelt wearing is a safe thing to do, and I just had a little lapse there.
Now, Lieutenant Schaefer tells me that during the day, more than 90% of Iowans use their seatbelts. However, at night, 45% of accidents that have fatalities were not using seatbelts. He says if it means giving out a few tickets during a seatbelt check, then going to the scene of a fatality that could have been avoided by using a seatbelt, it's worth it. Sarah?